Hey there, nation. Welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and now it's time for another edition of Warhammer the Golden Age. This is our series of 8th edition fantasy Warhammer battle reports. This is battle report number 29. It is a 2,000 point battle that is fought between my friend King Khalifa of the Schwarzwald Free Companies of the Empire versus my House Laynell, the Silvered Host of Keldor, my 2,000 point army of High Elves. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're bringing back King Khalifa. It's been a while since we played against him. It's been a while actually since we played Warhammer 8th edition of fantasy, so I'm really excited to get this battle report going and talk about exactly what happens. Without any further ado, we're going to put on some background music real quick, we'll run the army list real quick, and then start talking about the battle report. And then as always, if you want to check out what we actually brought for each of our lists, just feel free to pause and you can check out what we brought. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this on. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us directly to the deployment phase. As you can see here, we are fighting on a 4x6 table. My army, my High Elf army, is deployed on the near side of the board. My buddy King Khalifa is deployed on the far side of the board. And as you can see, I actually have a much larger army this time around because I decided to readjust my points. I mean, having Tyrion as well as Teclis is very, very powerful to have in a 2,000 point army, but unfortunately they're just eating up too many points, and so I decided to kind of switch up by getting a regular Archmage as well as a normal Prince, and then using that my other additional points to like buy new units for my army. So you can see that I'm pretty much straight up into line formation. My opponent, King Khalifa, has this huge horde bricks of infantrymen deployed across from me. So let's go and talk about the individual deployment areas and talk about what everything is located at. Alright, let's go and talk about my center lines real quick. Starting from the left-hand side and moving to the right. On our left, we have the Everqueen's Rangers. Those are my unit of 15 white lines of trace. They also got the Banner of Swiftness, so those guys are kind of useful to kind of flank around the left-hand side. My goal is to have these guys be my flankers. In the center there, I got my Dawn Patrol. That's my huge unit of 23 Lothar Sea Guard. I also have my Battle Standard Bearer, Tanis Laynell, with the Brown of the World Dragon. I also have my Archmage, Titos Laynell is also located in that unit as well. The idea here is that these guys are kind of like the base of my army. They can do shooting, they can do close combat, and they're kind of a huge unit as well, which is also very helpful. And on the right hand side there, I got my right hand unit flankers, which is my Everwardens. That's my unit of 20 Phoenix Guard with just regular full command. And that pretty much makes up my center line for the deployment. And finally, over here on the right hand side, I have my unit Lord Tywin Laynell. He's my prince. He's located in the very center rank of those 9 units of Silverhelm Knights. That's his retinue. That's a nice one. Knights in full command. And then of course I have my Reigns of Keldor, which are my 2 Eagle Call Bolt Throwers. They're located on the top of this hill as well. Pretty much my plan here is to flank to the very far right with my cavalry units, try to take out his infantry units and destroy them, and then kind of run down the entire line and take out that way. At the same time, I'm planning to use my Bolt Throwers to take out his steam tank because the thing ignores armor whenever they hit it. So that's pretty much the plan. Unfortunately for me though, my opponent kind of stuck his steam tank behind a standing stone, so I really can't shoot him off on the first turn, but you know, I'll have to take my chances. And for the Empire, starting on the very far left-hand flank, we have the Panzer Baron. This is their Imperial Steam Tank, and that thing's an absolute monster. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing most of my Bolt Thrower fire at that unit, try to take it apart because with Eagle Call Bolt Thrower, you fire the main bolt, and it ignores armor saves, so hopefully I'll be able to take this thing out of commission. And here's a vast majority of King Khalifa's army. Here's his center line, starting from the left and working away all the way to the right hand side. In the very back we have Donner, that's his great cannon. Up in the front we have his first unit of 20 halberdier detachment, that's the Red Company. In front of them we also have 5 members of Rommel's Rangers, which is another detachment from the Archer unit that is located behind the Yellow Company, which is that huge, I'm sorry, not the Yellow Company, the Black Company, which is that huge unit of 37 halberdiers. In that unit he's also got his Arch Lector located there as well. He's also got his Battle Standard Bearer in that unit as well as his level 4 wizards, so that's kind of like a Death Star unit. Right behind them, of course, you have the rest of Rommel's Rangers for 10 archers, and then right there on the right hand side, that's Maximilian Max, that's his level 2 wizard of the Lore of Metal. And protecting his right hand flank we have the Blue Company, which is that unit of 20 halberdier detachment. In front of them we have 5 archers from Rommel's Rangers. On the very far right hand side we have Blitzen, which is the Hellblaster volley gun. So with deployment done, let's go and talk about turn number 1. And this time I get to go first. So this is a picture is taken directly after the movement phase. As you can see, not much movement really takes on with my army. I just kind of move up their normal movement allowance. 5 inches for my infantry units, 9 inches for my cavalry as well. Pretty much the idea is I want to kind of engage in the sense that I'm kind of protecting my flanks between those 2 standing stones on either side of my army, and I want him to come marching towards me so that I can engage him on my terms and hopefully destroy him that way. And at the same time I could also flank with my right hand guys with my Silverhelm Knights, and then use my bolt throwers to kind of give supporting fire from a distance. So that's pretty much the movement phase on this one. So with movement over, we go directly to the magic phase. Unfortunately for me, I tried to get a couple of my spells off. I kind of rolled poorly on them. I did try to get off the big version of Walk Between Worlds, so that way I can move my Silverhelm Knights and directly into the flank and not have to worry about being shot at by Donner, but my opponent kind of shut that down while using his Dispel scroll with Maximilian the Max. So in the end, I only managed to get out Soul Quench, which is a kind of like a magic missile. I managed to kill 4 members of the Black Company. It's not much, but you know, I'll take what I can at this point. As a bonus, however, I did manage to get off the Shield of Safri lore ability, so now my unit of Lothar Seaguard have a 6-up ward, which is also pretty awesome. With that being said, we go directly to the shooting phase. And not much really happened either. I managed to kill 4 members of the Black Company with my longbow, not my longbows, my regular bows fired from my Lothar Seaguard. However, the major disappointment came with my bolt throwers. I did try to open up on his Great Cannon Donner, as well as his Blitzen, which is his Hellblaster volley gun, with my 2 bolt throwers, but unfortunately for me, I just flubbed my rolls. I rolled like 1 and a 2, so because of that, my main bolts missed, so my missile fire wasn't pretty ineffective. And since none of my troops are engaged in close combat, we skip the combat phase. We go directly to the bottom, turn number 1 for the Empire. And as you can see, pretty much he moves up pretty conservatively as well. All he really does is he marches up his skirmishers, which is actually a pretty good idea because those guys can shoot on the march because that's what they're designed to do. And he moves up the bulk of his army, which is his 3 infantry units. He just moves up the normal 4 inches to kind of take up positions behind them. At the same time, he also kind of chugs his steam tank forward a couple of inches by spending 2 steam points on that one. And it looks like things are kind of not going according to plan. I was hoping he would try to take the offense and come after me, but because he has such a large infantry army, his army is designed to be more defensive, like so is mine. So now we're just kind of like staring across each other, not sure how to proceed at this point, which is gonna be kind of rough at that point. But the good news is that his steam tank is now behind that standing stone, so now I can open fire with him with my bolt throwers, hopefully take out that steam tank and then take out the rest of his army. Will be lucky. I was hoping to get my Silverhelm Knights as well as my general out of the way, the direct fire the Donner, which is the sorry, not Donner, but Blitzen, which is the Hellblaster volley gun, but you know, them is the breaks, I guess. During the magic phase, most of his spells I was able to shut down. The only thing he really got off was Throne of Vines, so now he has boosted magic for the rest of the game, which is not so bad. Once I get within range, I could use Drain Magic and take that away from him, so that's pretty much my plan there. So with the magic phase over, we go directly to the shooting phase. And during the shooting phase, Rommel's Rangers, both the detachments as well as the main 10-man unit, open up on my Lothar Seaguards. Managed to kill a couple of guys. I think he killed 4 of my Sea Helms, so it's not so bad. My Ward Sea was kind of useless because I had to roll a 6 in order to do that, but that wasn't the most devastating part of the shooting phase. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Commander CheapSkate, why are you showing me a picture of one of your terrain pieces like this hill? Why are you just showing me that image and not anything else? Well, the reason why is because on that hill used to be 2 Eagle Call Blow Throwers. Those are my Reigns of Calidor. Unfortunately for me, however, my opponent decided to open up with Donner, his Great Cannon, as well as the Panzer Baron, which is a steam tank, and open up with both those cannons, one on each of one of my bolt throwers. Not only did he get the shots and he landed the shots, he also managed to wound them and destroyed my 2 bolt throwers right off the bat. So now I have no artillery support whatsoever. I have nothing to take on that steam tank with aside my White Lions of Trace. And now my plan is kind of falling apart because my plan was to destroy the steam tank and then whittle down his troops with multiple shots from my repeater bolt throwers, but that just kind of went up in smoke as well. So yeah, my artillery is now absolutely gone. And to make matters worse, that Hellblaster volley could manage to wipe out 4 of my Silver Helms as well, literally cutting my general's unit in half in terms of its effectiveness, and that was absolutely brutal as well. The only reason why I kind of survived that is because my opponent rolled horribly on his to-hit rolls. He landed like 20 shots off that thing, and I think I only managed to secure, I think, 6 or 7 shots. That's the reason why only 4 of them wounded and managed to kill my guys at the same time, and I rolled horribly for my armor saves, so things are not looking good at all. And once again, because nobody's engaged in close combat, we skip the combat phase and go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the High Elves. So this photo is taken directly after the move phase, and this is where I realized that my tactic of standing back, letting him march to me and engaging him that way is no longer going to work because I have no artillery support anymore. If I just keep on standing right between those 2 standing stones, his cannons, his Hellblaster volley gun are just going to tear me to pieces, so I decided to engage as quickly as possible. What I decided to do was to charge all my units because I had some pretty good decent charge ranges already ahead of time. As you can see on both my flanks, my White Lions as well as my Silverhelm Knights charge directly into their targets. However, the center targets, which I was looking for with my Lothran Sea Guard as well as my Phoenix Guard, I failed my charge distance, so because I only moved up halfway distance, which ended up being 5 inches for both of them, which is actually pretty good for me. Unfortunately though, I failed the charge, which means I'm probably going to get counter-charged the next turn, but you know, what can you do at this point? Alright, here's a close-up of my Everwardens, my Ever Queen's Rangers, which are my White Lions of Trace, engaging that 5-man unit of Rommel's Rangers. This is going to be easy. I'm going to wipe out those guys pretty quickly, then overrun and charge directly into that red company, so that's the plan on the left-hand side. And over here on the right hand side, I managed to charge directly into Blitzen, which is the Hellblaster volley gun with my Silverhelm Knights as well as my general. I'm going to destroy that unit as well. That's not going to be a problem. I'm going to try to do a quick combat reform, have them turn to the left so that way they can charge directly into the flank of the blue company. So that pretty much makes up my movement phase. So with movement phase over, go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, I got my spell off, Walk Between Worlds. I managed to get the boosted version off, so what happened is I teleported my unit of 20 Phoenix Guards across the battlefield using the Ethereal special rule, had them kind of loop around and then kind of turn around to face the back ranks of both the Black Company as well as the Blue Company. So now my Phoenix Guards are smack dab in the rear of the main lines of the Empire. So it's a pretty good choice here because that means I can start engaging units into pincers attacks and hopefully take them out, so things are looking up for that part. However, when I did get that spell off, I rolled like an 18. I got like 2 6s and a 5 and a 1, which meant that I had to roll up a die, a 2d6 on the miscast table. I rolled a 10 on that part. So you can see there, I lost 3 wizarding levels, and now my wizard is now just a level 1 wizard now. He lost Walk Between Worlds, Arcane Unforging. He also lost Drain Magic as well. So the only thing he has left is that Magic Missile Soul Quench. And so my plan of taking out the Throat of Vines, that plan's been shot. So now I got nothing left but a level 1 wizard, and things are looking bad. So with the magic phase over, we go directly to the shooting phase. Not much happens in the shooting phase. We skip that part and go directly to the combat phase. And just like I anticipated, my Ever Queen's Rangers had no problem taking out that unit of Rommel's Rangers. Destroyed those guys completely, overran and charged directly into the red company. So now I'll be taking on those Halberdiers in the next combat phase. And at the same time, my general as well as my Silverhelm Knights had no problem putting the heart on Blitzen, destroyed that Hellblaster volley gun, did a quick combat reform to face the left hand, to the left, to face the right hand flank of the blue company, and hopefully kind of sweep down the main line and start taking out guys left and right. So that pretty much makes it the combat phase. So with combat phase over, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 the bottom of turn number 2 for the Empire. So this is the bottom of turn number 2 after movement phase for the Empire. As you can see, he moves a couple of his troops around, mainly his skirmishing units of his archers. He kind of moves into blocking positions to occupy ground that my charging infantry as well as cavalry units will try to go through. So I have to engage those guys first and buying my opponent King Cleaver some additional time as well. At the same time, my buddy takes his steam tank and kind of moves him like 90 degrees to have him face off directly against the left-hand flank of my White Lions of Trace, which is going to be horrible if that thing makes impact because that thing has grind attacks and that thing is absolutely devastating combat. At the same time, he did try to charge him with his his Black Company, which is that huge unit of Halberdiers with his characters inside of it. But unfortunately for him, though, he did fail his charge roll, so he just only stumbled up forward like 4 inches. So that's where he's located there as well, which is good for me because that means I can counter charge and that way I can kind of catch him in attack. However, that does kind of put me out of position because I was hoping to catch that unit in a pincer attack between my Lothran Sea Guard as well as my Phoenix Guards. But because that plan has gone out of commission because of those skirmishers in the back ranks, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just absolutely clueless at this point. So yeah, that pretty much makes the move phase for the Empire. Here's a close of the Panzer Baron ready to choo-choo across my entire left-hand flank for my White Lines and get those guys crushed beneath its grinding wheels, as well as brutal breath attack. And I could also use its cannon as well, so things are not looking good there. And here's a close-up of the action taking place on the right-hand side of his army. As you can see, the first thing he did is he moved up his skirmishers of 5 Rommel's Rangers into a blocking position right between his halberdiers as well as his silver helms, which means that I will have to engage those archers first when I charge on my next turn, take those guys out, then overrun into the blue company, and hopefully take those guys out in close combat. At the same time, he also not combat reforms, does a swift reform with his blue company and makes him turn over directly 90 degrees over to the right-hand side to face off against my silver helms. So much for a flank charge. And to make matters worse, he decides to move up the 10-man unit of Rommel's Rangers into a blocking position against my Phoenix Guards, so now those guys will be out of position for charges as well, which kind of threw my wrench in my plan. At the same time, he moves out Maximilian Max, which is his level 2 Lore of Metal Wizard, out of that unit and moves him directly behind the Black Company, so that way he can give him some buffs or use some magic spells as well. So things are not looking good on that part either. So with move phase over, we go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, he managed to get Flesh the Stone off into that unit of Red Company Halberdiers, but because he also has the Throne of Vines, that unit now has 4 up on its toughness, so that is a toughness 7 unit, which is absolutely horrible, which means if I even hit him with my White Lines of Trace, which I'll be able to do, I have strength 6 and gets his toughness 7, which means I have to roll up 5 up in order to wound him. So pretty much kind of like took out 2/3 of my attacks in terms of wounds in that case, so things are not looking good for me on that one. I might get tar pitted here. And the worst possible scenario is if I can't break this unit in combat, I'll get flanked by the steam tank, and then my guys will be stuck between these 2 units and eventually just get piecemealed apart. So things are not looking very good here on the left-hand flank. But even worse than that, my opponent gets off the spell Dwellers Below off into my Phoenix Guard. He kills 11 of my Phoenix Guard, which is absolutely horrible because these guys are high elves. They only have a strength of 3 on these guys. They get strength of 4 in combat because of halberds, but normally their base strength value is at 3, so I have to roll under a 3 in order to survive. So I'm thinking, okay, so a lot of my guys failed their strength test, no biggie. I got to afford a war save. However, my war save rolls were absolutely horrible. I rolled a bunch of 1s and 2s on my rolls. I just absolutely flubbed that part. 11 of my Phoenix Guard gets swallowed up by the Dwellers Below, so now my unit here has been effectively neutered, and so now I have to have basically grasping at straws here at this point, which is absolutely horrible. I have no idea what I'm going to do now. It was just bad. I just flubbed so spectacularly on that roll. Things are just not looking good at all. So with magic phase over, we go directly to the combat phase. And in the combat phase, I am absolutely halted in my advance with my white lines. I only managed to kill 5 members of the Red Company. However, they get to use their leadership bonuses from both the Howling, the Battle Standard Bearer, as well as their general nearby. They don't break at all. They stay exactly where they are. They don't inflict any wounds on me, but now my unit of white lines is stuck, and that's a bad thing because next turn, after my next turn, I just know that steam tank's gonna come barreling down at my high elves on the left-hand flank. It's gonna tear my guys apart. So yeah, things went absolutely horrible for me in the combat phase. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the High Elves. And this picture is taken directly after the move phase. I decided to go for broke. I'm not going to mess around anymore. I just basically have to charge in, try to destroy, cause as much destruction as I possibly can, hopefully be able to seize the day on this one. So you can see I charge in all my units. I take my Lothern Sea Guard, charge directly into the Black Company, so hopefully my higher weapon skill as well as initiative will help me out and kind of defeat this unit. But then again, that's a lot of humans in that unit, but we'll see what happens there. On the back rank there, you can see I've charged my Phoenix Guard against that unit of 10 men of Rommel's Rangers, so my plan is to take those guys out. I don't foresee that being much of a problem. At the same time, my general's unit charges into that unit, 5-man unit of Rommel's Rangers as well, and that's not going to be much of a problem either. So that pretty much makes up the move phase on this side. And because everyone charges and is in close combat, I skip magic phase because the only spell I have left is a magic missile, which you can't use in the combat fit when you're engaging combat. I have no shooting because everyone charged, so that takes us directly to the combat phase. And you can see in this photo, I managed to kill 4 more members of the Red Company, but it was not enough to break them. They managed to kill 3 of my guys as well, so now we are stuck in this stalemate. We're just taking training blows because of their high toughness value, so that part was absolutely devastating. At the same time, in order to help buy myself some time for my Phoenix Guard to help me deal with this problem of halberdiers, I decided to issue a challenge to my Battle Standard Bearer against his Arch-Lector. That ended up being a bad move for me because that Arch-Lector managed to put a wound onto my Battle Standard Bearer, and I did not do anything against him. I did cause 1 wound against his Arch-Lector, and he failed his armor roll, so you would think that'd be a good thing, but what ended up happening is he rolled a 6-sided die for his ward save that comes with that armor that he's wearing, the Armored Meteoric Iron comes with a 6 ward. He rolls a perfect 6, so now we're kind of stuck there. Luckily for me, though, it doesn't mean that his halberdiers and my can chop down my guys, which is actually kind of good, but at the same time, that doesn't do me any favors either, so things are not looking good on this side. As if there was any doubt, however, my Phoenix Guard had no problem killing Rommel's Rangers. They actually beat those guys, caused them to break. They fled. I pursued, overran, destroyed them, charged directly to the left-hand flank of the Blue Company. Same thing pretty much happened with my General's unit. Had no problem destroying those 5 skirmishers. I overran, charged directly to the front of the Blue Company, so that unit should be killed here pretty quickly. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Empire. Alright, that takes us to the bottom of turn number 3 for the Empire. This photo is taken after the movement phase. As you can see in that picture, pretty much the only thing that moves is the Panzer Bear, and that thing comes tearing down on the left-hand flank of my White Lions. And at this point, I'm kind of like, so long, White Lions. It was nice knowing you guys, because that grind attack from that steam tank is just going to make mincemeat of my toughness 3 White Lions. So that's part pretty rough as well. So with movement phase, because everything else is engaged in close combat, we go directly to the magic phase. Alright, so the very first thing my opponent decides to do is to cast Flesh to Stone onto his unit of Blue Company again, so that all those Halberdiers are now toughness 7 Halberdiers, which would be very, very difficult for me to crack against those guys, so not looking forward to that. So that just made everything wonderful, and I was powerless to stop him because I'm a level 1 wizard, so there's not much I can do about that. And to make matters worse, my opponent cast Dwellers Below again onto my unit of Lothern Sea Guard, managed to kill a couple of guys. I got really lucky on the rolls this time. I rolled actually a lot, finally I rolled low. I rolled a lot of 1s and 2s, so because a lot of my Lothern Sea Guard did survive, however, my Battle Standard Bearer did not survive it, so he is now dead, so that's horrible, which means I can't issue challenges unless when I challenge my wizard. So because that would go directly to the combat phase, because there's no shooting, and my Lothern Sea Guard, as well as my wizard, get absolutely destroyed with that entire unit. I did manage to kill a good healthy number of the Black Company, however, they killed more of my Hiles in return, and so because I lost combat res, I think I lost by like 4 points, so because I had a break, I fled, they charged and overran, destroyed that unit, and got that killed completely off as well. And also you could see on the top there, for the Blue Company, between my Phoenix Guard as well as my General's unit, I only managed to kill like 2 members of the Blue Company, and they managed to kill one of my Silver Helms as well, so things are not going great on that part either. On the left hand side there, as you can see there, I did manage to kill a couple more members of the Red Company, but between the grinding attacks from the impact hits caused by the steam tank, it just absolutely destroyed my army. I had to flee. The Red Company moved up like a 2 inches, I think, and managed to kill me out. I forgot when I rolled, but needless to say, they got overran by the Red Company. They got killed in that part, so things are not looking good on that part either. So yeah, that pretty much makes the combat phase on this one. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This brings us to the end of the game. As you can see, pretty much my entire army is ate up. The only thing I got left are like, I think 9 Phoenix Guard and like my General and 4 Silverhelm Knights. And there's no way I'm going to be able to take on all that members of the Black Company, as well as the Blue Company, 2 Wizards, a Steam Tank, a Cannon. So things are not going to go well for me at all. So I decided to kind of concede this game at this point because things are not working out too well for me. So yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the After Action Report because this battle report is now officially over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for the After Action Report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the After Action Report for Warhammer the Golden Age Battle Report number 29. It was a 2,000 point battle fought between King Khalifa of the Schwarzwald Free Companies of the Empire versus my army, the House Lanel, the Silver House of Calidor, which is a 2,000 point High Elves army. It ended up being a defeat for yours truly. So let's go and talk about some of the losses that took place during this battle. For my losses, I lost Archmage Titos Lanel, Captain Tanis Lanel the Dawn Patrol, which is my Battle Standard Bearer, the Everqueen's Rangers, which are my White Lions of Trace, as well as the Dawn Patrol, which are my Lothar Sea Guard, and my Raids of Calidor, which are my 2 Eagle Call Bloodthorns. For King Khalifa, he lost 2 things. He lost Rommel's Rangers as well as Blitzen, and that was absolutely it. So let's go talk about some of the factors that caused me to lose this battle report. First of all, my initial plan, which is called Strategic Offense, Tactical Defense, that's the idea where you kind of go into a position to where you can easily defend yourself, move to that area, and then just kind of defend the location at. That plan absolutely was destroyed because my artillery was absolutely defeated when it got blown away by 2 cannons, so that plan kind of fell apart. So because of that, I kind of panicked. I charged in when I shouldn't have, and because of that, I violated the principles of mass on that part. I was too spread out. Taking out my concentration, my forces were not concentrated enough. I was taking on very, very dense forces in opposition to that, so they had no problem just destroying me bit by bit. So that was also very, very horrible as well. Another indicator indication as to why I lost is because of the magic phase, losing all of my wizarding levels down to level 1, and the spells to go with really hurt. I was unable to stop my opponent from getting spells off because of my lower wizarding levels, and that spell, oh my god, dwellers below, I forgot how terrifying that thing was. But anyway, so that kind of led to that part as well. However, we did make a rule mistake. We realized later on that his unit of halberdiers, which is the Black Company, had their battle standard bearer who was using the Griffin banner. We realized later on that you can't overrun with that unit, but you know what? It didn't really matter anyways, because even if they couldn't have pursued me, they would have destroyed me anyhow with more artillery fire or in close combat again. So it wouldn't have made much of a difference in my opinion. And as always, cannons are beast mode in Warhammer, but you know what? Even though they're very powerful and they can cause a lot of damage and just screw up your plans, I like the challenge. I like taking on cannons because there's a lot of people out there who like to cry out that cannons are overpowered, and they like to whine and complain about how it's unfair that you gotta go up against cannons. And I like just defeating armies with cannons just out of spite, because I've done it before and it's a blast when you actually do it. So, you know, whatevs. I do like cannons, especially when I go up against them. I like the challenge, but then again, maybe I'm kind of wired weird. Maybe that's why. As always, this was a fun game. It was good to get back to my roots again, playing Warhammer 8th Edition. I love Warhammer 8th Edition. It's a very favorite game to play, and I'm always looking forward to rematches with King Khalifa, because he's an awesome guy to play against. As always, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Your guys' input is always appreciated, and always check out our Facebook, Google+, and Instagram for the latest updates on our hobby. That's going to wrap it up for this one, you guys. Remember, we alternate every Thursday with our Warhammer Ages, with Warhammer the Golden Age, which is our 8th edition battle reports. That's also alternates with every Thursday with our Necromunda battle reports, Tales from the Underhive. We also have alternating shows on Sunday with the 9th Saga, which is our 9th Age battle reports, as well as Age of the Realms, which are Warhammer Age of Sigmar battle reports. And we also have a brand new series on Wednesdays. We call those Warband Wednesdays, and that is with our latest campaign, Shadows over Shadespire, and that is our Warhammer's Age of Sigmar skirmish bat reports. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one. You guys stay classy. Peace out.